Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, the question is, why does mind create duality? I'll repeat the question. Why does mind create duality? Mind is primarily thoughts. There are certain other factors included in it, but primarily it is merely thoughts. There is no physical organ called mind, and it is not brain, though most of the thoughts are stored in brain and the mind originates from there. It's made mostly of thoughts. So thoughts are required for our function, for our survival, and for any organism. Self-survival and procreation is the basic tenets or the purpose of living. That is the purpose, primary purpose for any organism is self-survival and procreation. That is the physical aspect of it. So mind is a tool which is required for it. It functions, mind functions with that thought. It plans, it executes its day-to-day activities, long-term goals with the help of the mind. And especially that is true with this knowledge-based society we have today. Without knowledge, you cannot do anything. Earlier, of course, you have a little knowledge and you have a lot of physical work. You can survive with bare minimum of survival knowledge and a lot of physical activity. You can survive. But today it is more on the side of the knowledge than the physical activity. You have to have a lot of knowledge and a little bit of healthy physique. So knowledge has become main tool of survival today. Then what is the problem? Knowledge is supposed to be a tool, but over ages, knowledge has become master. It is not the servant, it has become the master. So that is the basic problem. So let us see what is mind. At the surface of the mind, attention turns from one thing to another. So there is a stream of limited perceptions. It is a stream of changing show, rather like moving pictures on a video screen. In a movie screen or a video screen, you see the lot of pictures changing every moment. The same way, the scenes change in our life on the screen of the mind. And what is underneath this changing mental show? What is there at the depth of the mind, beneath the mental pictures? It is which eliminates this, like in the projector. What eliminates this screen to see the show visible? It is consciousness which illuminates all this action, all the show. Without consciousness, nothing is visible, nothing will appear. In the course of experience, objects, actions keep appearing and disappearing every moment. A new scenery comes, new action comes, they disappear and something else comes. They come and go, but every one of them is lived by consciousness, the same consciousness. Thoughts and feelings keep replacing one another at the surface of the mind. In the Indian traditions, 5 levels are conceived through 5 elements. In the Hindu tradition, they equate the 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are 5 elements, and Corresponding to these five elements, they talk about five levels of experience or appearance, which is perceived through five layers of personality. These are called koshas or coverings. For each is a covering of something deeper to be found within. Like the food you eat, everything is a layer which is formed. And the third layer or kosha is called the manomaya kosha or the covering of the mind. As per Hindu tradition, the third layer of the five layers, the third layer is called the manomaya kosha or the covering of the mind. Here the mind is the conceiving intellect made up of thoughts which interpret the patterns of activity that our senses perceive. Thus interpreted, these patterns are conceived as meaningful information. Tell us about an intelligible world. At this level, we experience thought and names and symbols whose meaning we interpret in our minds. So next, according to Advaita Vedanta, what is mind? According to Advaita Vedanta, mind is a subtle substance, or in Sanskrit is called dravya. The mind, which is called internal organ or antakarana, is produced from sattva, part of all five subtle elements together. It is known by four different names according to the function. Four names are manas, buddhi, chittam, ahankara. The mind is formed with the sattva or the soft part of the elements, five elements, and they are divided into four different categories according to the functions they do. Those are called manas, buddhi, chittam and ahankara. Chandogya Upanishad says the food that is eaten becomes divided into three parts. The grossest part becomes excreta. The medium constituent becomes flesh. The subtlest part becomes mind or antakaranam. The mind is the cause of happiness and unhappiness. A person is happy when other living beings or inanimate objects are favorable to him, and unhappy when they are unfavorable. A thing or person is considered favorable when that thing or person responds in the way it is desired. If a son obeys the father is happy. If he does not obey, he is unhappy. An enlightened being is just the self-functioning through a mind whose self-ignorance has been removed. So next we will see an extract from Osho's book, Behind 1,000 Names. But the sage says just the reverse. He says that the mind is to be emptied, dissolved. He does not want the mind to be modified, made refined, made better. He does not want the mind. He says, empty the mind, get it dissolved. If one wants to be a success in the world, the mind has to be trained. If the movement is towards no mind, then the mind has to be transcended. If you desire material achievement, the mind has to be well trained, well organized, and well integrated. That is the difference. If it is in the material world, you have to organize, train, and integrate the mind. But if you desire spiritual, the mind is not required at all. But no mind. For the spiritual, it does not matter whether mind is educated or uneducated, organized or unorganized. Mind is not required at all. His movement is into no mind. The sannyasin's constant effort is that the mind should have less and less grip over him. How does the mind become stronger? If you can understand the process of how it becomes stronger, you will be able to understand how it can be weakened. You are continually cooperating with your mind. If you are passing along a road and you are not hungry at all, but you see a restaurant, the mind immediately says, I am hungry. And your feet turns towards the restaurant. You do not stop to question yourself. When you saw the restaurant, there was no idea of hunger. By seeing the restaurant sign, your hunger is activated. This is mind. The mind has no relation with hunger. It only desires the pleasure of taste. The mind does not bother about the needs of the body or its health. When you see a restaurant and hunger is created, that was not there before. This is pseudo hunger. Now if you start moving towards the restaurant, you are supporting and strengthening the mind. Osho tells by an example how we strengthen the mind. All the whims and fancies of the mind. Every time it tries to consolidate itself, it tries to win its position, and one thought says you do this, other tries to revolt, and the revolt only strengthens the mind. It takes its position, it does not leave it. We succumb to that pressure. So that is how the mind is strengthened. This is how he explains. With an example of the food. Even if it is not hungry, the mind says you are going to get a pleasure, go and have food. Now you are hungry. So that is how we succumb to our mind. So that is how the duality is created. The duality is created because the thoughts, which should be a tool, thought which is mind, should be a servant doing the day-to-day activities which is required for survival. But it has become the master, assuming the position of consciousness. That is how this duality is created. So with this we will end this episode. Subscribe to my channel. Stay with me for another episode. Share my video. Thank you.